हे एवरीवन, आज हम बात करेंगे कि इंटरव्यू कैबिन क्रू इंटरव्यू में क्या क्या क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं। तो मेरे साथ में है मनीषा। हाय मनीषा, हाउ आर यू?
हेलो।
हेलो। सो आज मुझसे मनीषा कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछेगी कि कैबिन क्रू इंटरव्यूज कैसे होता है, कितने राउंड्स होते हैं और कैसे कैसे क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं। सो आप इन सब के लिए रेडी है तो ये वीडियो जरूर देखिएगा एंड इससे आपको काफ़ी सारे इंसाइट मिलेंगे कि आप इंटरव्यू के लिए कैसे प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं। सो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड।
I want to know first that how much experience you are having as a cabin crew.
Well, Manisha, I would like to say that I have more than 15 years of experience in aviation and hospitality, where I worked with Jet Airways and I worked as a senior crew in Jet Airways, both domestic and international. Then I worked in TrueJet as a in-flight head, where I was heading the in-flight department and hiring the crew and handling the operation.
Oh, wow. So, I'm very excited to talk to you for cabin crew interviews.
Thank you so much. Let's get started.
So, Jyoti, how many rounds do we have for cabin crew interview?
Well, Manisha, it depends airline to airline. So, it is minimum 3 to 4 rounds where a student has to undergo for the cabin crew interview.
Oh. So, may I know what are the common questions is being asked for first round of interview?
Yes, Manisha. So I'm going to tell you what all the common questions. Like when a student walk in for the interview, the first question is asked by the interviewer is talk about yourself, or can we know a little more about yourself, or from where did you come? So can you talk more about yourself? So these are the questions where the student have to talk little more about yourself, so that we can get to know the student is from which place, what is his education, whether his communication is good, comfortable to talk to us or not.
So basically, first round would be their introduction and their background knowledge.
Yes.
And what about the second round?
Well, in the second round, mostly it depends again airline to airline. Sometimes the first round is considered as a weight and height check and the skin check. If they clear that round, then they come into the introduction round. And sometimes airline takes directly the introduction round and then they put it for the second round is height and weight check. And then if they pass the height and weight round, where they check also the skin and everything. If everything is fine, then they move into the third round.
Okay. And what about the third round?
Well, third round is really very tricky round. Here you need to speak out. Well, in the third round, mostly airlines conduct a small activity like a group discussion, where the latest topic, like the airline's favorite topic these days, or probably you can say a year back, was the pandemic. So they choose few topics to speak about as a group discussion, and then they see the leadership quality, then they see the communication of students, and they will also find out how good a student is to taking the control of the people.
Okay, so the third round would be group discussion.
Yes.
And what about the final round of interview?
Well, after completing all these 3 rounds, when the students finally get through and they come into the 4th round, that is mostly with the HR round, where they get to know how the process go about their training and hiring process, where they get to know what they have to do after getting selected. They have to go for class 2 medical, and then how much money they have to spend to give it to the company as a deposit amount, which they get it back after 2 to 3 years depending upon the airline. Well, once the student is ready to move, their parents allow them to move and do the training with the airline. So if all the conditions are met, then we keep the result for some time more with us and announce it at last or personally to the people.
So after completion of all the rounds of interview, a candidate is ready to go on board?
Well, yes, Manisha. So once all the four round is completed, depending upon the airline to airline, they sometimes, if the batches are already going on and they want the training institute to be little empty before they hire the other batch, they keep the results with them for a month, or sometimes they announce then and there so that student can prepare, and then we call them separately for medicals. Once medical is clear, students, just remember, if your medical there is some problem, and the medical reports will directly go to the airline, no matters whether you paid or not, but this reports will go directly to the airline the interviewer, and if you get through in that, and then you will be given a call to come to start your training.
Well, thank you, Jyoti. It was such a great pleasure to meet you and have a great knowledge for cabin crew interviews.
Thank you, Manisha. It is wonderful talking to you, and I would love to see few more videos with you. Thank you.
Sure. Bye.